in theaters and on HBO Max for the next 30 days, and it is a reboot of the classic Hanna-Barbera shorts Tom and Jerry. Those animated classics back in the day where Tom and Jerry would just like basically fight each other. The Simpsons did a parody of it within their show Itchy and Scratchy. That's basically what it is, but now it's an animated live action hybrid. And Tom the cat and Jerry the mouse get kicked out of their home and relocate to a fancy New York hotel, where a scrappy employee named Kayla who will lose her job if she can't evict Jerry before a high-class wedding at a hotel. Her solution? Hiring Tom to get rid of pesky mouse. Now, I can definitely tell you that whoever thought of this film, probably some dude sitting in a chair behind a desk in a big burlap suit, was probably like, "Oh, hey, you remember that Who Framed Roger Rabbit movie from like years ago? It hasn't been done in forever. Let's do a Tom and Jerry movie like that. We're geniuses." Because, oh man, this was a huge miscalculation on whichever studio executive's idea that was. Wow, where do I begin? I guess I could say that this movie had a better effect than NyQuil does on insomnia. Look, when you have a movie that is this humorless and this bland, it's probably a huge indication that your movie is not going to translate well onto the big screen. Things like Tom and Jerry are better as shorts. Bringing them into a theatrical film, let alone a live-action animation hybrid, doesn't really do them any favors. When I saw who directed this movie, I immediately said, oh shit. I know exactly where the humor in this movie is going. And during the credits, there's going to be minor spoilers throughout this review, probably. So during the credits, we are greeted by a bird who raps, staring at us, breaking the fourth wall. That's the type of movie we're getting here, but I could see people saying right now, well, maybe you weren't the target demographic for this movie. And I probably wasn't. But who is the target demographic? Because kids are going to be bored during this movie as well. I don't see them having any lick of fun here either. They're going to get about halfway through the movie, see where this movie is going, and then be like, nope, I'm just going to go play with my Star Wars action figures. Let's just have Kylo Ren and Darth Vader fight each other. There's that for you. Kids are going to get bored. I was excruciatingly bored. This was painful. Not to mention, the acting is abysmal. Holy shit, man. Chloe Grace Moretz has no charisma in this movie. It could have been saved probably with some character development, but when you actually look at it, it's like, you're not that likable. You stole something from somebody and now you're here. How can I get behind that? The moment she gets this job at this hotel, you know exactly how it's going to play out. So not only is this bland, but it's predictable. And when it comes to the Tom and Jerry sequences, those are not funny. They're trying to play everything up for laughs in this movie, and the jokes fall extremely flat. There were no laughs and chuckles from me. There were eye rolls and sighs. That is the type of humor you are getting with this movie. There's maybe a line or two here where I was like, clever, yay. You're funny for 2 seconds. Other than that, it strained my attention. The humor is just so drab and dry. Never hit a note with me. And like I said, maybe it'll hit a note with kids, but even with the kids, I don't see kids walking away from this laughing and being like, look, Mommy, that cat just hit the mouse. He fell through the piano. Kids are not going to get amused by it, I don't think. Like I said, I think they're going to get really bored and just go play with action figures of more popular franchises. There's also a point in the movie where I actually have to guess what Tom and Jerry's role in this movie is, because for the first 20 to 30 minutes, they don't seem integral to the plot at all. Everything just seems inconsequential, especially when it comes to those two characters. It really honestly feels like it's an episodic adventure for these two characters, just put into something that is a longer form of their television shorts. Instead of a 10-minute short, it's like an hour and a half short, and many times it was just very episodic for me. And I also have to wonder, how does this world work? Humans are just accepting of the fact that animals are animated, they don't notice anything weird about it. It's never brought up. I know people are probably gonna be like, well, dude, like, it's Tom and Jerry. Why you... But the point is, you have to explain why they are animated. Why, like, there was no reason for this to be a 2D animation and live action hybrid. Should have went one way or the other, or you should have done what they did with Sonic the Hedgehog or Pokemon Detective Pikachu. Something like that. I could live with that, but having full-blown 2D animation in this movie did not make sense to me at all, nor is it ever explained. This takes place in New York, so everybody just goes along with it, and everybody is accepting of it. The movie doesn't give us a good enough reason to be accepting of why these animals and these creatures are animated. It doesn't make sense in that regard. Like, I'm sorry. That's proof that this was not a good idea. And as I've said, I've mentioned that the movie itself is pretty bland. The story surrounding this movie, I could have cared less. But like, just, shoulder shrug. Like, who cares, honestly? I literally feel like I wasted my time. You guys know me. I am huge on pushing for theatrical releases over streaming, physical media over streaming, but this is the type of movie that I would just skip theaters altogether and watch on a streaming service, where I can just watch it for free. Like, yeah, sure, I'm paying for the streaming service, but I'm not paying an extra cost for the movie, so it's like, well, if I want to turn it off, I can just turn off the TV. Like, I always feel weird walking out of a theater, and I feel like I would have walked out of the theater with this movie. I'm not saying I did turn it off because I stuck through it to give you this review, but I came tantalizingly close to turning it off. I can't give this movie a recommendation. This is by far the worst movie I've seen this year. Or if it's not, it's close to being the worst movie I've seen this year. I'm going to say Tom and Jerry belongs in popcorn hell. Wow. I mean, I expected to be at least slightly entertained by this movie. Not even Michael Pena could save this movie. He's awful in this movie, too. Chloe Grace Moretz and Michael Pena, please, fire your agents. Your agents are as bad as Colin Farrell's agents. Like, my Jesus, this movie is the perfect definition of having a piece of chicken seasoned with water. So, guys, what did you think of Tom and Jerry? Drop me some feedback in the comments section below. I'm curious as to how you guys will feel. If you felt completely different than me. I will leave my link to my website in the description below as well. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I'll see you at the movies somewhere.